Welcome to the Boulder Criminal Lawyer Podcast with Janene McCabe. I'm your host, Elena Nicole. In this podcast, we'll break down the criminal justice process and answer the questions many people have, but often don't know where to ask. From what criminal defense attorneys actually do, to what happens during an investigation or arrest, or how cases are built and defended in court. Janene McCabe is a criminal defense attorney and skilled courtroom litigator who has taken nearly 100 cases to trial, representing clients in municipal, county, and district courts. Janene, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm looking forward to this conversation. So let's dive right in. So let's talk a little bit about courtroom process. So what should someone expect when they know they're going to appear in court?
You know, anytime you have a court appearance, you want to take it seriously and you want to take it professionally. We do live in Colorado, and so we're not exactly a state where it requires formal dress, but you want to dress like you know that it's serious. So you want to come professionally dressed. You don't have to wear a suit and tie, but you do want to dress up. A good slacks, a collared shirt, a jacket if you have it, or a tie. For women, same thing, or a nice dress and a jacket is always best.
Is there anything you would recommend not to wear to court?
I have seen clients do things like they are wearing t-shirts that have messages that might not be for all audiences. Whether that t-shirt is supporting beer advertisements, that's never a good look, especially if you have a DUI case. That's just a bad idea, right? So you always want to dress and act professionally. Wait until your attorney says, it's time to approach the podium. Ask your attorney about what you should be saying in front of the judge and speak calmly and clearly.
What should you not say to a judge in court?
You should never tell a judge that the judge is doing the job wrong. That never helps anyone. It never helps your case. Instead, you want to always be very polite, recognize that they are the authority in the room, and they're the one who's going to deliver the ultimate sentence if there is one.
Yeah. What should someone do if they are feeling very emotional or overwhelmed?
It's okay to take a minute. It's okay to tell your lawyer, I need a minute. It's okay to tell the judge, I need a minute, whether it's because you're angry about the process or whether it's because you're in tears. Either way, everyone understands that it is a difficult and highly emotional process, and being in the courtroom is not an everyday experience. And so take the time that you need, tell your lawyer, I need a moment, and they're going to be more than happy to work with you on that. What I like to do with my clients is talk to them about what to expect, how long I think the hearing's going to take, whether they're going to have to speak and address the judge, or whether I'm going to do all the talking for them. If a person is there and they're entering a plea into some sort of after a negotiation, we'll go through the paperwork together. I'll talk to them about what questions the judge is going to ask them and how to speak. And then also what kinds of points they might try to make in front of the judge when they're given an opportunity to tell their version of events.
And tell us a little bit about how criminal trials actually work.
As a defense attorney, we are always going second, right? The prosecution has the burden of proof. That means that they go first on everything. They go first on the jury selection, they go first on the opening statements, and they go first on all the witnesses that they choose to call, and they get to start by questioning each witness. As a defense attorney, you go second because you don't have the burden of proof. And so instead, you respond to the jury selection and you give your own opening statement second. And then you have to wait until all the prosecution witnesses are called before the defense gets to put on their case.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap this up with talk a little bit about what does TV get wrong about criminal trials? Many people, the only thing they're familiar with when they hear criminal defense or criminal trials is what they've seen on a movie or a television show. So from your perspective, what are most of the misconceptions people have about criminal trials?
I would say the first thing is that it's solved in a 40-minute episode. I mean, criminal trials, they take a long time just to gear up to get ready for the trial. And we're talking months to a year or years, depending on the investigation that needs to be done, depending on the experts that might need to be called. And so that's the first thing, is that it is a lengthy process to get it done right. And then the second thing is that it's really not as dramatic as court makes it sound, right? There's a lot of rules that we have to follow. And, you're not going to have the, Tom Cruise moment where you're demanding the truth from Jack Nicholson. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. And why do most criminal cases resolve before trial?
Well, a lot of times, there are off ramps, I call it, on your way to trial all along the way. And some of those off ramps can be negotiations, right? You work with the prosecutor and you realize I could take this deal and guarantee that my client is going to have a resolution where they can maybe do a period of time on probation, but then the guilty plea gets withdrawn, the case gets dismissed and then sealed. And that may be a really good outcome for a client to avoid a trial where maybe they're concerned that they may not win. The other option is lots of times we push really hard on a case and we tell the prosecutors, you're not going to win this case. And it's not up until the eve of trial where the prosecution realizes that their case is not as strong as they thought. And so they dismiss at the last minute.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, last question for you, a little bit of a personal question. Why did you choose criminal defense as a career?
I think even as a young kid, I was always impressed by the underdog. And I feel like when we're talking about criminal charges, you really have the weight of the government against you. And they have all kinds of resources, from police officers to investigators to district attorneys' offices. There is a lot of momentum going against you. And it's just you standing up against the government and saying, I didn't do this. And so I've always been wanting to represent the underdog and fight the giant government beast whenever I can.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Janine. This has been such a great conversation about criminal defense, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Okay.